Today on Crafty Brewers.
I'm brewing it no matter what, whether you like it or not. I'm brewing it even if it gets me fired. The story behind this beer in particular is really cool. So I was like, what kind of beer did he like? And he was like, oh, he fucking hated craft beer. And I was like, amazing.
Tell me more.
Punk subculture, metal subculture are things that I am so deeply defensive of. I will never say I'm happy with a beer. I will say a beer is dialed in.
Okay, what's the difference?
Well,
welcome to Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer, the podcast that will increase your enjoyment of craft beer, or maybe you call it local beer. I'm not the boss of you. And most importantly, the people who make it. We've traveled to Tinley Park, Illinois. It's right at the cusp of I-80. Oh man, it's almost like downstate to some people. But to me, it's where I grew up, and we are in Tinley Park to go from grain to glass with Jacob Hutcheson. You got it. You nailed it. We're in Tinley Park, Illinois. It's very far south near I-80. To go from grain to glass with Jacob Hutcheson, head brewer at Soundgrowler Brewing Company, and the brewing ops manager, John Halek, is here. They are going to share stories that make each brewer unique. I'm beer drinker and hellraiser Brian Noonan, and all my opinions are strictly my own for good reason. Behind the camera is our executive producer, Cody Goff. Cody, what are you so excited about for today's episode?
How could you not be excited? There's a death metal vibe. They make apparently the best single beer of a certain variety on the planet that we're going to hear about. They do metal yoga. I feel like my blood is on fire. There's a lot to get to. This is going to be an
incredible vibe. That's an incredible vibe.
Right?
Yeah, soak that up.
There is a lot to get to. Well, Soundgrowler's, their mantra is beer, doom, and tacos. So Cody covered some of it. There's a lot of beer, which is great, which we're going to get to. The doom, we'll dive into that a little bit later. And the tacos, unfortunately, the kitchen was closed by the time we got here. But I've had the tacos many times. Muy bueno, as the kids like to say. Okay, so Cody brought this up, and welcome to both of you. Thanks for being here, first of all.
Literally anytime.
Glad to be here.
So I've been drinking beer since I was probably 6 years old. And I have tried, I thought, every style known to man.
Yes.
No.
But Soundgrowler goes to the World Beer Cup.
Hell yeah.
And you come home with a bronze medal for a style I have never heard of. So number one, congratulations. And
Thank
number
you.
two,
Oh, thank you.
what is Grodzinski?
Grodziskie.
Beautiful
it's a
thing.
Polish beer. The history is a little contentious on like ale or lager. I've talked to two very separate groups.
Okay.
And so mine was a lager.
I'm going lager. Lager's a choice.
So there's Grodzinski beef? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so. But
Okay.
I was
should be.
in tracking down like the origins for this beyond like Wikipedia and like the internet. I was like, well, I want to talk to people like I have family in Poland, and like
Okay.
I was, I'm gonna see what they feel about it, and I got a bunch of different answers. So I apparently there is some Grodziskie beef.
Okay.
But yeah, the beer it's one of my favorite styles of all time. It's essentially hot dog water, and I don't want that to turn anybody off. It's the best thing. It's
delicious.
No,
It's
that should
delicious.
be. You should hear that and be like, nice. Oh, cool. And you make that cold and carbonate it. That sounds amazing.
I don't know. I grew up boiling hot dogs back in the day, and that water did not look great at the end. But
Did you taste it?
But did you drink
Did you drink it?
all right, fair point. All right, you got me. I did not drink it. So, all right, I'm going to be open-minded. Hey, is this a beer that you guys had before, or is it you were like, well, we want to enter something in the World Beer Cup. Let's go crazy.
No, this was, I think, the second time that we had done the beer. The second or third, I'm pretty sure it was the second. I loved the beer from top down. It was a style that I've always loved, one of my favorite styles ever. I think the last time I had it was a couple years ago at, it was the last Stout Fest that Goose Island did.
Okay.
They had tapped their Grodziskie because they tap a bunch of cool stuff for the brewers there. Like they have their High Life clone and like some casks of stuff that are really cool. And I was like, I was so excited to have like a really good Grodziskie. And so I immediately made my own, and then like just the name, the story, the style. I don't know. This one, the artwork, I thought was really cool. Just from.
So, what is the name and what is the story?
So, Good Familiars is the name of the beer. I named it after one of my favorite horror movies of all time, Hereditary.
Okay.
And then the artwork was like this cauldron with like some witch shit all over it. It was cool. It was really cool. It's the background on my office computer.
Was the
right
witch
now.
making a hot dog?
No, in retrospect, regret not incorporating more hot dog into the artwork.
Or at least some sausages.
Some
Some encased
hindsight.
meats.
The next batch is
okay.
Look for some crazy different artwork for that one. But yeah, that's I love that style. I love.
Why haven't we heard? I mean, like I said, we drink a lot of beers, Cody and I. I've never heard of that style. Is it very rare? Is it only in certain geographic areas?
I would say it's just a rare style. I mean, like I think smoky beers are tough sell for a lot of breweries, and like the Rauch beer is probably the closest, like the most popular of like the really smoky beers that we'll get. And then even those are like tough move for a lot of breweries, unless like traditional lagers are your jam. You can probably move it better than I would be able to.
Okay.
But like that being said, I have that exact style of beer in the fridge back there. You know, like it's ready, it's on deck to be tapped here. I love smoked beers. I love lagers. I love light ABV beers. I'm like...
And what is the ABV of a Grodziskie?
Like real low to mid threes.
Wow. I believe ours was 3.6.
Yeah.
3.6.
Really?
And it can get I think down to like 3.2. I'm not sure the exact like style guideline, but it's a super low ABV beer. I prefer quantity. Like if you give me, not that I don't like some of the higher ABV beers, but like if you give me a little snifter of beer, I'm a monster, and I'm not even going to realize that I'm sucking it down, but I'm going to smoke that thing. So I like having mugs of low ABV beer, the big gulps, clinking mugs with the mates at the pub is like drinking songs. I think that's like the way to experience beer.
Before we move on from Grodzinski, because I appreciate your description of it as hot dog water, but in case there are people like me who didn't drink hot dog water as a child,
of course,
we know that it's low ABV. It sounds it's a little bit of smoke. What would beer parlance be for it? For
so
people
it's
who are like,
not. I think when you say smoked beer, the Rauch beer being like the primary example of something that is so heavily smoked, it's a huge step back from that. It's 100% oak smoked malt, or at least like 100% smoked malt is usually the baseline for it. But it because there's so little malt in it and the ABV is so low, like the smoke is not overwhelming.
Okay.
It is to be clear, you will know it's a smoked beer by smelling it. It's not, doesn't shy away from the smoke, but it is not nearly as intense as I think most people are expecting a smoked beer to be, because it's a really intense flavor. I don't fault people for not liking smoked beers. I don't fault people for not liking sours, because they are uniquely intense. Yeah. That's like this is for you or it's not for you. I love smoked beers. I think everybody should love smoked beers. I completely understand why they don't. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But I mean, also like the beer in itself, it's more of like, you think minimalist. It's very clean. It's very light. It's very refreshing, and it finishes super soft. So like you're not going to have your mouth filled with hot dog water. It's going to finish clean, and it's going to be easygoing, and it's going to stop when you want it to stop. It's not ongoing finish that is just lingering in your mouthfeel. So like it's a big difference than like a Rauch beer, because
short-term hot dogs.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. You got to think about more of that than it is just in your face. Like
maybe that's next
beer.
year's name.
Short-term hot dogs.
There you go. Yes, there you go.
Now, before we get to both of your journeys to this life, not only did you win the bronze, you were very proud of the fact that you won some fashionable garments because of this Grodzinski win.
This is important.
Out of my mind about it. It's cool to have medals.
Sure.
Because you can put those up in the tap room, and then people think your brewery is really good, and that is important to me, and I like that. But
and we are. So thanks.
Weyermann is a really great German maltster, maybe the best German maltster, and if they reach out after you win a medal and they're like, was your I think it was like more than 60% of your grain bill is Weyermann, then they're like, you qualify for our specific award. And it's
there's parameters, and we made those.
Red overalls, because I used 100% oak smoked malt, so 100% of my recipe was just oak smoked malt from Weyermann.
Okay.
Again, minimalist. Yeah, super clean,
nothing.
super
That's
easy.
nothing.
Yeah,
I don't,
very.
I'm putting nothing else in it.
Yes.
A better brewer would probably put something else in it, but like, oh, whatever, man.
Yeah, we won't talk about
I was
that.
going to say, you won, so I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I don't know how much
okay.
better it could
take
be.
the win.
Maybe,
Yeah, take the win.
whatever. But yeah, so they ask for your measurements, and they will custom tailor you a pair of red overalls that have like the little yellow Weyermann logo on the front. I mean, they're real like Ronald McDonald looking overalls.
We're going to get a picture of them
they're
for
incredible. Oh yeah,
to show them,
I
because
love
they're
them.
sitting over
Yeah,
there, and they are bright red.
Oh man, yeah, they're amazing. And that is like, that's all I've ever wanted. That's the only thing that I've wanted. Like, that's my major award.
Then how are you
for
not
brew.
retiring at the top of your game? How is this not your last interview?
Well, because
ever?
you get one pair of suspenders and you want another.
Well, we want a couple of them. We want a fleet
overalls.
of
I need
the
You want
overalls.
everybody to buy
Yes.
the
I want to
whole
get
set.
I want to get another one.
Yeah,
I
we're
want to
gonna
get a
start hanging
tie-dye
them
one.
around the
John
room.
needs a pair.
Yeah,
There they
exactly.
are.
That's what I'm
Cody
saying,
has
yeah.
brought them in.
Oh, there we go.
See that big yellow logo?
Yes. Yeah. It's a special kind of color coordination that
Yeah,
they do.
That is
Yeah,
beautiful.
right, so-
And those are custom made.
Just for my body and nobody else's body.
Yeah, you literally
Nobody
like
else gets to wear
the
them.
form
Nobody
you
else
have to
can
fill
wear
out.
them. If anybody else puts them on, it's horribly discomfortable.
This man was measuring all types of parts of his body to get this thing done because you have to fill out everything and you have to put it out there. Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I mean, like you said, the medal is nice because now people come in and go, ooh, a medal.
Yeah.
But if they see you stroll out in those, then they go, oh, now we
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
now
a win-win.
we
It's
know.
official.
It's a
This
win.
is-
It's a win-win.
Nobody's messing around here at
External
Soundgrowler.
validation is, I think, very cool and does a lot for me as a really anxious person.
I don't blame you.
But the overalls, personal win.
Overalls are
Love
cool.
that.
Those are very cool.
Love that shit.
All right, so Soundgrowler opened in 2017. How did you, because you've been working here for a while, but you weren't always the brewer.
No, I scammed my way into being a bartender. So at the time, I was doing bartending gigs and then volunteering at other breweries by me out just across the border in Indiana.
Okay.
To try and like build some sort of resume or something so I could start applying for breweries.
Had you
know?
brewed at all, like home brewed
No,
or anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I have no brewer background. My dad was way into home
Well, I was
brewing.
gonna say, yeah,
and he
you've
knew
been
about beer.
around
So
it
it wasn't
your
like
whole
I didn't know
life,
anything about craft beer or brewing. It was just like home brewing was
Yeah.
never. That's not true. I did one batch and I was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever drank, and I don't ever want to do this again.
So there's room to build.
Yeah, because I was
There's-
like,
yeah.
I was just like, I just
Set the
need
bar
different
low.
equipment, you know. I need like different equipment or something, you know. I was not a fan of home brewing. And then I tried to learn about brewing from like pro brewers, you know. I was like, you know, let me clean stuff or help on the canning line or the bottling line. So Gus at New Oberfalls in Griffith, Indiana, that dude let me work brewfests. He let me help on the bottling line. I mean, like, he gave me enough experience that I could like go to other breweries and be like, hey, I've experienced doing this. Can I volunteer some time to help? And they wouldn't, you know, just totally write me off. And then this place opened, and they had a 15-barrel brew house and one person working in the back. And I was like, that's not going to work.
Someone needs help.
Eventually, they will very quickly need somebody else.
Of course.
So I was in college at the time I was like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to get my degree. And then so I'd leave college and I would come here, and I had like rules about it. You know, I was like, no more than 2 beers.
Okay.
And, you know, like, don't talk too much and because I don't want him to think that I'm, you know, I don't
Like a
want to,
fanboy?
I need to be a hireable person. And so
Always came in a suit.
sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would change into a suit in my car, and I'd come in my best tuxedo.
Hello, gentlemen. Could I have a beverage, please?
Oh, I do some beers here. Yes, I'd like the finest IPAs.
Yes.
And then so I would, you know, I'd have those conversations, and then eventually a bartender thing opened up, and the manager at the time was just like, "You were looking for a bartending gig, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I
kinda am."
Yes. And so I started bartending, and then immediately on day one started hounding the head brewer at the time to be like, oh, it'd be really cool if you had somebody to like clean these tanks or wash some kegs or something, huh? And he was like, don't talk to me. I don't need anything. I don't need help.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yes.
and I was like, I get it. But I kept hounding him, and then eventually he taught me how to clean kegs, and he taught me how to wash tanks, and he taught me how to do all this stuff. Because he just thought I was just like,
Then
some
you pushed him out.
goofy bartender. Oh no, not at all. No, he thought I was this like goofy bartender who didn't know anything, and just like, I get not wanting to have like some goober
Right.
in the I completely understand where he's coming from. And
So no goobers are allowed back there now?
no,
Now that
that's
you're the head
we have a
brewer?
sign back
Yeah,
there.
it's goober free.
Goober
free.
free.
Goober-free brew house.
No, and then so I left for a little while. He left. They got a new head brewer. I worked under the new head brewer. I came back. I worked under the new head brewer for a little while. And then
Conrad,
he's
awesome.
Oh, yeah, shout out Conrad for sure.
Andres.
Conrad, what up?
An incredible brewer who owns a place out in California now.
Oh, nice.
Living House. And really incredible beer.
Living House?
Or no, not California. It's Portland.
It's
Portland, Oregon.
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
Portland,
Oh
Oregon.
man.
Same
Yes.
coast.
Sorry, man.
Conrad, they gave you a
Sorry,
shout
Conrad.
out.
It was his
Didn't care
fault.
enough
It
to
wasn't
know where
us.
you're at.
And then we blew it.
It was going to look so good.
But yeah, and then he got that opportunity to open up that space and recommended me, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
And now you're making Grodzinskis and you're winning medals.
I'm
and
going
you're
crazy.
wearing
I'm going
overalls.
crazy with it.
He's having a
Congrats.
field day.
Yeah.
What about you, John? What was your background?
So yeah, I started in retail with Binny's. I was working at Binny's for about 10 years. I was a corporate beer buyer there. Then I worked for Leaders Beverage. I installed and designed draft line systems for like Revolution, Lagunitas, Microphone, like all those guys.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I worked for Lagunitas for about 6 months, and then I came here.
All up and down
now-
the three-tier
everything
system,
feels
baby.
right. Yeah,
All up and down the
those
three-tier
tiers,
system.
All that stuff. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's about actually 17 years at this
Wow,
point. Yeah,
all right.
so yeah, we're here now.
You're
And,
here.
we're
Everybody's
making beer,
hanging at
and
Soundgrowler.
It feels good, feels right, and I love it here. Yeah, I love Jake. I love Soundgrowler. I love all this stuff.
I love
so it feels
you.
good. Yeah, see,
It's a
feel
love
that?
fest.
You feel it?
God, there's so
Yeah.
much love here. Don't
so
listen to
much
how
love,
scary the
yeah.
music is. There's so
yeah,
much
yeah.
love here.
Yeah.
I don't find any doom. All I hear is love. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, showcase one of Soundgrowler's fine beers. And again, if you're in the Tinley Park area, Soundgrowler is at 8201 183rd Street, Unit P. Soundgrowler.com is the website. Jake Hutcheson and John Halek are with me today. We're going to do this, and then there's going to be more, because that's what we do. It's Crafty Brewers. We are back at Soundgrowler Brewing in Tinley Park, Illinois. Soundgrowler.com is the website. Jake Hutcheson is the head brewer. I'm going to add that R every time just because I'm dumb.
It happens.
Hutcheson.
Oh,
And
stop.
John Halek is the beer operations manager at Soundgrowler. And now is the time when we highlight a beer. Now, a little behind the scenes, I'm going to pull back the curtain. When we took the break, both Jake and John were like, okay, what should we talk about? Because the portfolio here at Soundgrowler is very expansive. It's varied. You've got sours, you've got West Coast IPAs, hazy IPAs. You've got, I mentioned sours, you've got lagers. You had for another, well, it's probably gone by the time you watch this, a very good fest beer. Their Oktoberfest was stellar. Their tortilla hands, the Mexican lager, is always on point. So there's a lot of beers here that we could showcase. But gentlemen, you decided on what?
The American lager.
He's gonna look. I don't know. I made it.
I don't know,
drink it
dude.
first. Hold on.
What did I get
Let me
again?
remember.
Oh, damn. It's the American lager. And it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite beer here for a number of reasons. One, it is classic beer-flavored beer.
Yes, it is.
When I was, for the years that I spent bartending, my favorite customer that would come in would always be the person who, like, hung their head and was like, I only drink light beer. Like that was some sort of
Sin.
swear word that they were saying to me. And I'm like, no, I got you. I got you. And the story behind this beer in particular is really cool. One of our owners I'm going to dip the mood a little bit, but we're coming right back up.
All right.
It's a good
one
feel,
of
though.
the,
It's a good
one of the
feel.
owners, his dad passed away, and a couple months later, he was like, "Hey, do you think we could do a beer like in memory of my dad?" And I was like, 100%. I love doing like if I get to do something. Not that brewing isn't important, but like if I get to be a part of something that I think is really meaningful like that through my craft, that's amazing. I love that. I love people trusting me with that kind of stuff. That's really honoring. And I was like, what kind of
pressure,
beer?
though.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure. Let's be real.
Didn't think about that. I don't think about
mess it
that
up.
until after I agreed to do it.
I made a beer for your dad. This sucks.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
He would have hated
We're
this.
not friends anymore. Yeah, that's So
Yeah.
we didn't do that. So that's
So I
good.
don't think about I don't ever think about the repercussions until after I agree to
probably
do
best.
things. Then that's when I start stressing out. But so I was like, what kind of beer did he like? And he was like, oh, he fucking hated craft beer.
Ooh.
And I was like, amazing.
Tell me more. Yes.
Incredible. What did he like? And he was just like, just kind of like the lighter beer. And I was like, incredible. I've been wanting to do a High Life clone for 100 years. Like I was so excited to get to do this. And then so the 7-barrel batch that I did had a little more of that kind of like back end sweetness to it that High Life has.
Yes.
And then that sold really well. So they were like, do a 15-barrel batch. And I was like, done and done. So it's not like you get close with the scale up. You kind of got to, or at least I have to like dial it in maybe once or twice after scaling up a recipe. And this one finished a little drier, but it sold even better. So they were like, this is good.
Yeah, we're
don't
done.
like
This is
don't
what it is.
re-edit
So
That's
it.
what it should be.
the second bat, once you scaled up,
Slightly
that was,
different, probably not enough for like a lot of people
But
to
this is
notice
the same
difference.
recipe
Same recipe,
that-
scaled up.
Okay.
But like the 7-barrel batch had that was a little
little sweeter.
closer to
Yeah.
like what I think true to form of High Life is. But
What's the difference, either one of you, between an American lager, which this is, and what's the name of this one again?
Big Papa Pen.
Big Papa
Yes.
Pen. So this is an American lager. What's the difference between American lager and, I don't know, is there a European lager?
Oh,
German
well, a
lager?
lot
German
of them.
lager?
Well,
Yeah.
for
corn,
instance, Mexican
corn.
lager.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, that's right,
Mexican
Mexican
lager.
lager. I
Yeah, so
just-
our
Duh, I
big
just said that.
year-round tortilla hands has a good amount of corn in it. This, however, does not. It's super clean. I mean, Jake, I think.
Well, you've got
he has better.
like so corn and rice are like the two big American adjuncts. Like outside of the Mexican lager, also having corn is a heavily flavored or heavily favored adjunct. But you've got the American lager. So this I use in. I was not comfortable with putting rice in my mash tun because I'm pretty sure that would have destroyed my entire mash tun.
Yes.
So I found what's called rice syrup solids, which is a powder that I can add to the kettle.
Okay.
Same effect in terms of like building body, adding gravity points. Same thing, but I don't have to worry about ruining like
Rice
$10,000 worth of equipment.
Okay.
So I do that. So it's an American rice lager, which is like true to form to the American adjunct lager.
Okay.
Outside of that, I mean that's about it. Once you cross the pond, adjuncts are a sin punishable by death.
There are purity laws.
Yeah,
yes,
the
they're
Reinheitsgebot
accept-
is.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
they do have
yeah,
purity
they-
laws.
they got
and
German
They
everything.
do
laws,
understand
man.
those
Yeah.
things, and they're very strict.
They'll
Yes.
kill you over it.
Oh yeah. Hey, yeah.
Wow. First
We
it
don't
was
talk
the
about that,
Grodziskie-
but he just said it.
Grodziskie
So,
beef. Now
I mean-
Germans kill
Yeah,
German
yeah,
brewers
yeah,
killing
they'll
people.
kill you.
Yeah, this is a serious podcast.
You don't
Everybody,
mess around.
So
You don't
Cody,
mess
this
around.
one is taking a turn.
no children allowed. No children allowed.
There's
So-
the doom. The doom. We finally got the
I'm
doom.
so
when
Yeah,
brewers
there
try
you
to
go.
kill other
It-
people, that's
full
the
circle.
doom.
I was waiting for the
Yes.
tacos, but
Yeah.
I'll take the doom, I guess.
We got some
I
music
know.
playing in the
Exactly.
background.
The
It just-
tacos are so
God,
delicious,
It's turning the mood.
All right, so now you talked a little bit about changing things and adding adjuncts and stuff, and that goes into all the science behind brewing, which is where I'm always amazed. And there's basic science, and then every time you take a style like a lager and tweak it, you're adding your own science. Where do you like? How long you said you were a bartender? You didn't have any real brewing background. How long did it take you to get a handle on all the science that goes into brewing this portfolio that's behind us?
Years.
Readings and more readings and more readings.
An incredible amount of books, and then an incredible amount of time talking to people who just know more than me.
Okay.
And that is, I still think most of the brewers that I know, the overwhelming amount of brewers that I've met in my life, know more about brewing than I do.
And it's amazing, and always ask questions.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It really much.
A big reason that I like collaborations is that you kind of get to go and see, man, so how do you do this?
Let's talk to another brewer that I've never met before.
Cool.
Let's talk about what you're doing. That's important, and that's very special.
Now, do they come to you for Grodzinski?
Nobody has hit me up for
Really
anything.
great. Yeah, you guys, let us know.
If anybody wants to know.
They may be the best in the world. They have a World Cup medal.
I don't think...
I think we're super humble. I want to know more.
You guys
there's
do
always
seem
more to
very
know.
humble.
To be clear, I'm really excited that I won a medal and then I
Never
got these
expected
cool
it, I think.
overalls.
Yeah.
But don't come to me for brewing advice.
No, it's just.
Please tell me what you know,
If
and
you
let's
come
talk
to
about
me
it.
for brewing advice, I'm going to send you to other brewers.
Is that for both of you? Is that kind of your own thing? Because people come into Soundgrowler, and like I said, I've been coming here for years. I don't care how much you know as a brewer. I know as a customer, if I sit down and the beer is good, I don't care if the guy's got a PhD or if he, if he's picking it up as he goes.
The beer's good. The beer's good.
Well, I think that's a validation, and as far as that, you can always learn more.
Sure.
There's never going to be a point where there was always going to be somebody that knows something else that I
There's
don't know.
There's only one brewer I don't
let's
trust,
do that.
and it's the brewer who's like, I've learned it.
A guy that comes to me is like, I know all that stuff. Yeah, no.
I haven't talked to any
Tell me
brewer
what you
that
did.
way.
Yeah, tell me, explain yourself. Yeah,
to
exactly.
learn.
Yes,
Infinite
that's
amount
more
of knowledge to
important
learn.
than anything. Yeah.
It's always rare too when you said like with Big Papa Pen that okay, this is we figured out our recipe, and it's not because brewers are you are scientists and you're mad scientists, and there's always something that you want to. As good as something is, you're never satisfied.
Yes, correct.
So to hear, and there've been a few people who they one beer in their portfolio, they'll go, yeah, this is the recipe. We kind of got this one. But every other one, they're like, no, we got to keep going.
I get really excited about ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a beer that has, and this is a little ridiculous, but where the name works with the style, works with the can artwork, with
it needs
the
to
whole
flow. Yes.
package.
Yes,
that gets me really excited. But when it comes to recipes, every single beer I've ever made is this was good. I don't think this was bad. I would like to change just a little. Yeah. I'm going to tweak it a little bit next time. Yeah. I'm going to change it a little bit.
And I mean, I think that also speaks with our core beers, because the core beers, when I first started coming to Soundgrowler and not being employed
unrecognizable
here, they're not the same as they are now.
Yeah.
They've just improved exponentially through the years, and just tinkering. I mean, tinkering with a recipe and making sure that is one of the only things that you guys do on a regular basis, and now we do on a regular basis. I mean, to be honest, that is the only thing that you can really perfect. All of these other beers, there's so many other things you do once a year. You do maybe once every 2 years. So these are the only beers that we can really
from
hone
batch
down.
to batch.
Exactly.
You're brewing it 2 or 3 times a month.
Yes. And that's important.
You can work on it.
And the fact that we have
tinker.
4 of them, and I think we've really done a good job with the 4 that we have right now. But even with that, all of our other randomness, we're doing a pretty good job with those. But Tortilla Hands, I think, is one of my favorite Mexican lagers ever.
You get so much time to dial it in. I will never say I'm happy with a beer. I will say a beer is dialed in.
Okay, what's the difference? Well, for you,
for me, it is just this beer. People like it. Mm-hmm. It is enjoyed. I don't hear a bunch of criticism about it, and or not that it's perfect or anything. I just mean from customers.
People come in, they want to drink
it. People it's one of our best-selling beers, and the overwhelming majority of people who drink it are not coming to me and being like, "Have you tried this?
I think you messed up."
I think
right.
What if you did
exactly.
This?
Yes.
So it's well received. It makes the money. It is. I've tinkered with it enough that okay, I don't think it's a perfect beer,
sure,
but I think it's dialed in, and I don't see any reason to mess with it right now. and that will change in 5 months.
So what's the line for you then? If something is dialed in, but you say there's still something in your mind, you can tell that you're gonna try something else with it. Is there a line with tinkering and with science where it's like diminishing returns?
No, for me, it's absurdly arbitrary.
Okay.
Where, I will have a beer on tap that I love, and that'll be the beer that I drink, after my shift or whatever. And I won't try tortilla hands for like 2 months, 3 months. And then I'll try tortilla hands and be like, oh man, I kind of want it to be this. I kind of want to change this a little bit. Like I want it to be just a little different.
Is it because you haven't touched it in a while?
Yeah,
and you're thinking you feel lazy?
Oh man,
I don't want to say it's
done
perfect.
anything to this, and I don't think this is right.
Yeah, like that and orange haze is something that we always come back to. Like it is a regular thing. Like we have a lot of meetings and stuff like that. And like
those will change.
Yeah, those are things everybody talks to on a consensus, and we're like, this is what this is supposed to be. This is where we're at.
The moment that changes, I'm just
like,
like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I got to do something. Something's got to be different.
Exactly.
I have to upend our staple beer.
Yes.
And then it'll always be, like a pound. Like some really, truthfully meaningless change.
3 grains of rice.
Yeah, it'll be like, a pound of hops difference, and that'll be, and then I'll be happy, and then I will finally be happy.
And we will have a meeting about it, and everybody will be like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
Huge change.
What did you do? How did you do this?
And it's really more just because you say that you've changed it. That there's,
It's like,
it's more of the psychology of beer than it is the actual difference between flavor. Like I'll change it and I'll be like, this is perfect. But if I A/B'd the original batch to the new
perfect
dialed,
batch.
The perfect batch. They're identical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's funny sometimes.
Like, rarely do any of the changes that I make, I think, really make sort of meaningful changes. I think a lot of it is just me and
to build up
dealing
the
with my
influences.
neuroses.
Yeah.
Really, just like.
Well, you said you're an idea guy. You like coming up with ideas and developing ideas.
Yeah.
Where do the ideas come for the new recipes? Are you asleep and you just wake up? And, oh my God, I must do,
Well, I think that's research.
In general, hardly even that. I would say the art that I take in on a regular basis, often influences a full idea.
Actually, I agree with that.
There's an artist called Mitski that has a song called Burning Hill. And I was listening to that, and I was like, I love this song, and I love this artist. And so I'd listen to the song a million times, and not always does it end in beer. But
yes,
I was listening to that, and I'd be like, Burning Hill, great name for a smoked beer. And then that became our Rauch beer.
Okay.
That's awesome. So I think that's a cool top-down thing.
Yeah.
And then the art on it, it's like a burning house on a hill,
And we are Soundgrowler. I mean, it needs to something to coalesce.
Yeah.
with that,
I love being inspired by people that I respect.
Okay.
That's, I think, the primary basis for anything, any creative project that I do, whether it's this or anything else. And be that other brewers or bands or poets or whatever. That is my primary inspiration. It's just essentially trying to respectfully stand on the shoulders of giants, and not rip anybody off but to try and pay homage or to learn from somebody and, take that knowledge and use it respectfully to create something else.
And speaking, John, you mentioned keeping everything kind of the beer going into the creative. And so you handle a lot of the labeling and coming up with that kind of stuff. When Jacob says to you, hey, I've got this beer, this is the name I was thinking of, how do you then take that and go, all right, you make the beer, I'll make sure it's...
Well, first off, I see if I can fit it on a keg collar, because some of the names,
that's
man, you're killing me. Yeah,
that's a big
you're killing
problem.
me. But no, seriously though, he has so many good names and so many good just ideas, and
I want
so
the names
we run
to
with
be
it as much as we can.
Half a paragraph.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we run with it as much as we can, and I'm on my end, I want to make sure that our toppers match with our packaging and things of that nature. It's more aesthetics.
Okay.
But as much as I can, I want to make sure that we can make his idea come to fruition. So anything that he's going to put forward, all right, what can we do to balance that? What are the colors that you want to do with the artwork? Well, things of that nature. as far as that goes, Jake's the leader, and like I'm just following and make sure that everything works out towards the end. Like so, and I understand that, and he does a great job with it. So like I don't think there's any problems with any of the aspect that we have going forward. We do a pretty good job, and I think as far as the things that we have done in the last 2.5 years, like we've been doing some good stuff.
Shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're doing good.
Well, he's the leader. He's got the red overalls.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah,
it's like his,
hey, give me a year or two. Give me a year or two. I'm going to have a couple myself. Yeah, so it's okay.
I got a quick question. Who is the song Burning Hill by?
Mitski.
Mitski.
Yeah.
And who is Mitski?
Oh, Mitski.
Tell him the story.
Sad girl artist. One of my favorite artists. She's a singer-songwriter. Incredible. I don't think she has a bad album.
What's her genre?
Indie?
Indie? Okay.
Yeah, like I would say like
Jake loves music.
low
He's
tempo,
deep.
sad indie.
Okay, I'm
stuff.
just super curious about it because, like, the one thing that won't translate to podcast form is the fact that you play death metal in your brewery,
Yes.
right?
that's
Oh.
the doom part.
So there's levels.
Let me
There's
tell you.
levels
Let
of
me
this.
tell you how much of a
Please.
contrarian I am.
Oh,
Like
yes,
it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all what environment I am. It doesn't matter if I love the environment I'm in. If I'm in it for too long, it starts to be like, this fucking sucks. I got to do something. What's the opposite of this?
Get loud. Let's get loud.
And then so that is like eventually became this, and like so many of the beer names come from like forms of art that are like the total antithesis from like metal or anything, just
And
like
literally
other
to
things that I
comics
enjoy
and, like,
regularly. And it's not like
sitcoms.
I
Yeah,
don't
very much so,
enjoy
yeah.
doom metal or metal in general, but I'm like I don't want to do any more metal stuff anymore.
That's a
And then
small hole
and
that
then now
you're
we
like,
get this
let's
like
expand that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
sad indie
Yeah,
artist.
it's just so interesting to me because like that is the theme of the brewery.
Yeah.
So
Vibe.
like again, like metal yoga, right? Like
Yeah.
what made you decide that that's the theme, and how does it relate to the beer? Because like if anyone's listening to the first like 30 minutes of this, they're gonna hear you two. They're gonna be like, "These are the nicest dudes in the world." Like like it's so chill. It's so low key.
No, and
and,
then,
you
like-
walk in and it's like,
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Half the time when I'm doing stuff in the back, like it's like Motown and like old oldies. Yeah,
Whatever-
I love that stuff.
whatever's-
And like whatever like works for us.
whatever's
Like
the vibe,
yeah,
man.
I will listen to classical music. I'm
Well, it's
okay
funny.
with
I
that.
mentioned
yeah,
to
and,
both
like,
you
that's
guys,
not a
I've been
problem.
in here like on a Saturday afternoon and watching the door, and some people come in and they hear the music and they're like, "Uh-oh."
It's it's an atmosphere. It's
But
its
then they
own
come in
thing.
and they're
then
chill.
Yes.
that's the contrarian nature.
Yes,
like
exactly,
if somebody
yes.
comes in, they're like, I don't like this music. And I'm like, yeah, it's not for you, dude. Right on.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's its own
it's
thing.
aggressive.
But yeah, have some tacos. I mean, just sit a little while and
Yeah.
I think
Well, that's
everything
the other
will
part of
balance
it is
out.
that there is like this is like punk subculture, metal subculture are things that I grew up in, and I am so deeply defensive of. And I think something like this, like they come in and they're maybe not super sure about like this crazy art on the wall and the crazy music that they're hearing, but they sit down and are welcomed. And I
yeah.
really enjoy creating a space that kind of makes people maybe think a little differently about what they are hearing. Like it's, hey, this, you don't have to love it, but like maybe you leave here not so afraid with like the guy you see with a big purple Liberty Spike mohawk,
Well,
like,
and that's important too. Like our front of house, there's some really nice people. Like they're
Yeah, some of
really
the nicest
inviting.
people I've ever met,
They're
yeah.
really like sociable. Like it's a different aspect
Yeah.
as opposed to like you would think you would walk into like a death metal place and be like, no,
They would just
this is
say
not
to
for
eat
you.
shit.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There was
It's
one,
not that.
There was
it
one
really
brewery
isn't.
that was like that played a lot of that, and I won't throw them under the bus, but we'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
And the front of house was like, they were not nice if you didn't fit
Yeah.
their
There
thing.
is-
But that's the nice thing about coming in here. From the first time I came in, we talked to the bartender, and it was a guy at that point, and he told us all about the stuff. Then we ordered some tacos, and we sat for a few hours, and we had a good time.
You have long hair?
I don't remember.
Zane.
I've been coming for a
Zane.
while.
It's got to be Zane. Yeah.
I'm going to say it's Zane.
I feel like
I'm
it
gonna
was
say,
Zane.
hey, regardless of who it was,
Love
I'm going to
Zane,
say it
man.
was Zane.
Zane,
Love that
very
man.
nice.
Put it
Shout
on
out
board.
Zane.
Good guy.
Put it on the
Shout out
board.
Zane.
Shout out
Love
Zane.
Zane.
All right,
Yes.
since we're on this topic, there has been there used to be some debate on this program. It's not happening anymore about tap rooms doing other things to get people to come in, which I'm all for because, business and profits. And if the beer is good, why shouldn't you do everything you can to get people come in?
Oh, yeah.
So you guys do a lot of stuff, and you mentioned the punk subculture and the metal subculture, and some of the events here at Soundgrowler are aimed to that audience. Some are not. They're aimed at everybody, and you should always come in and check it out, even if you think, well, that might not be for me. Well, come in, have a beer, see if it's for you, and then if not, go home. But Cody mentioned this, and I thought, he didn't think I was going to get to it. But
and now here we are.
Heavy metal.
I got you.
Heavy metal yoga. Heavy metal and yoga don't seem to go together in my brain. I think yoga is to chill and find your center, and heavy doom death metal makes me want to fight.
Honestly, I don't think they listen to death metal while they're doing the yoga.
What do they do?
I was going to say, I think I've heard it. I've been around several times.
Because I do a lot of the yoga here.
Yeah, Jake loves the yoga. Yeah, he's in it.
So there is a subset of doom metal
he's
that
long and
is
stretchy.
very ambient.
Okay, really?
So like a lot of doom metal. Well, a lot of doom metal just chugs along at like 32 beats per minute, and it's just like submarine sounds.
I worked while they were doing yoga, and like I have to turn everything down. I have to I can't clean anything.
Chill,
I have to just make sure it's all quiet.
So
in the whole area.
The guitars are distorted. It's very heavy still, but it's very slow.
Okay.
And it has a much more
melodic.
ambient nature to it.
It's very melodic.
There's truly nothing aggressive about it. It is
Okay.
just kind of like a little scarier version of like smoking weed and listening to the Beatles, I guess.
All right.
And it comes with a couple tacos and a beer, I think, right? Yeah. Pretty sure.
Sold.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's what makes it metal. I think.
Maybe that's what gets people through it. I don't know.
I can see it.
Because they're like, I get beer and tacos at the end. And you offer me beer and tacos, I'll pretty much withstand anything up to a certain
I know.
point.
Yes.
I'm hanging by
Well,
my
like I said, I've been here a couple
fingernails from
times.
window
They're very
sill.
relaxed when they're ordering their tacos and having their beer. Yes.
All right. We've got to get to the final four. The questions we ask every brewer.
Love it.
I'm going to ask both of you, and feel free to answer. Let's start with Jacob. The hill that you'll die on. A style that may be popular. Oh, people clamor for it, but you just, no. I'm not, whether it's an ingredient or a style or whatever, you're just not doing it.
Lactose sours. Get that shit away from me.
I knew it. I knew that was the answer.
And just put milkshake IPAs in there too. Anything like, look.
But I mean, we don't do the milkshake.
I've said this a number of times. I've said this a number of times. I don't own the place.
Right.
Yeah.
I will brew what is asked of me.
But I mean, you shouldn't put lactose and people that are lactose intolerant.
I will quit before I put lactose into beers where it doesn't belong. Am I brewing a milk stout? Hell yeah. A little bit of lactose in there. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm not. I will be homeless.
We're not going more than
before I put that in
0.02% lactose.
Yeah, dude. No way.
Yeah, there is a level, and I understand that.
I guess I also have a lot of friends who are like vegan, and that's like I think it's weird to cut out a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But now also you have to
that
warn all
like,
of these people that may have lactose intolerance and everything of that nature. Like it's a whole other it's almost like the peanut thing. Like at a certain point, like maybe you're going to mess someone's day up because now you put so much that in there.
Is full of flatulence.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody wants that. Yeah.
Actually, I take all of that other stuff back.
Beer.
I just don't want a farty tap room.
Flatulence.
All right, makes sense.
Flatulence is
I tried to dress it up. I was going to say farting, but All right, question number 2. A beer that you brewed people might have loved it, might have been successful, but for whatever reason, you just don't want to brew it anymore.
Oh man, it would have been the other way. I was going to say ESB.
Yeah.
People don't want it, but
Nobody
they
wanted
love
that beer.
it, and I don't understand.
What is ESB?
Extra special bitters. So we have a great ESB. I think it's phenomenal. Butcher Bird. And like
we put out the problem was we put out an English mild that sold really well, and then I was like, the people love English beer, and then I put out this ESB, and everybody was like, fuck that beer, I'm not drinking that shit.
Oh my god, yeah, that was the
it
biggest.
Was awesome. It was this great beer, and nobody wanted it, and I got in so much trouble.
It was bad. Like we had to talk to some of the upper.
So I will announce now 2025.
Butcher
the
Bird.
ESB's Butcher Bird's coming.
Butcher Bird's
back.
coming.
I'm brewing it. I'm brewing it no
Butcher
matter
Bird.
No
what.
matter what, whether you
I'm
like
brewing
it or not.
I'm brewing it even if it gets me
Butcher Bird.
fired.
This could be the end of the
Subliminal
road.
messaging. Butcher Bird.
Okay, so a beer that I don't ever want to brew again. Honestly, any of the kettle sours.
Okay. What makes them so
Yeah.
rough?
It's like I have to get into our kettle to scrub that because like any amount of
All
like
that
even,
yogurt and
like
all
3
just the
IBUs
pitching
will
Oh, yeah.
jack up a kettle sour and stop it from souring.
Okay.
So I got to get in there. I have to hand scrub the tank,
Ugh.
and then it ties up your tank for 24 hours at least to sour. And then when you finally kick the boiler back on the kettle, it stinks so
it's
bad,
really bad.
dude.
Yeah, it's a funk.
So like the whole process, it takes forever. It smells like shit. I can't.
There are
It's
levels.
not for
Yes.
me.
All right. Your go-to off-the-clock beer could be one of yours, could be something else. Let's start with John first.
Ooh, that's going to be a toss-up. It's either like High Life, if it's not one of our beers, or Tortilla Hands, if it is one of our beers.
Perfect.
I think that's our go-tos. And
I'm not going to tell you which cup of beer it was, but one of the cups I've beer since we've been sitting here
was a High Life. Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
And I knew it.
Yeah, I
That
snuck one
makes
in there.
sense, yes.
Yeah, I had to sneak
And
one
it
in
feels right.
because it's comfortable to me.
High Life is your go-to.
Yeah, I think I'll give you 2 answers. I think if we're talking in my home,
Yes.
it's High Life.
Okay.
But if I am going out, it is a good Helles.
Oh,
you know,
oh,
I
yeah.
like
Yeah.
New Oberfalls, yeah.
New Oberfalls has an incredible
Amazing
Helles.
Helles,
If
yeah.
you go up to the city, you've got Dovetail,
Dovetail
you've got
makes it great.
Goldfinger in the further suburbs. Like we have we have an embarrassment of riches of like just
Oh, yeah.
incredible
We're
German
spoiled.
beer around.
And you guys
here.
have a nice Helles.
I like mine. I stand by my Helles,
There you
but
go.
like again, we are around some people that do some
We're
of the
spoiled.
best German lagers I've ever had in
Yeah.
my life.
Is it called Helles Lager? Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at your
yeah.
board, and you
That's
just
it.
all right.
That's in the German tradition, man.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah,
name their
what it
beers.
is.
We don't need any creativity for crazy names.
The
Tell
Hell-
us what it
It's
is.
simple
for
and
a
it's right.
classic
Yeah.
German beer,
This is what it is.
then that's what you get. This
Exactly.
is in the German tradition of just like calling a beer what it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like that a lot. I think that's this beer deserves respect, and I'm going to give it as much of that as I can, and hope I don't like blow it in brewing it. You know, like
There you go.
that's
All right, this last question. Now, I'm going to I've never done this before, disqualified somebody. Or disqualified one of the beers with the thing. But you guys not only make a great Mexican lager with tortilla hands, you have fantastic tacos and burritos here. So
Oh, yes.
I'm going to take tortilla hands and tacos off the table when I ask you one of your beers and a food pairing to go with it.
Oh, interesting. That's fun. Honestly, I just got asked by Becca, who does our social media. We have a special this month, and it's
shrimp tacos.
Shrimp tacos.
Check it out.
But it has an avocado crema on it, which, like normally, both of those things go really well with a little bit of acidity, and that's why tacos come with like a lime wedge or
Yeah.
something like that. So she asked me what she should put in the picture for it. And I immediately said the sour. Like, skip putting lime on the tacos.
Oh, really?
Just get the sour. Have that be the acidity. You have so much base from, like, that lime crema that, like, that sour ends up really chasing that super, super, super well. That's, I think, the coolest pairing. Or, like, my favorite pairing that has come through here in a while. That's it. That's the answer.
All right, I will allow shrimp tacos because they are a special.
Yes,
for the month.
It's
There
a
you go.
special.
All right,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
a special.
Or cheese, I guess, if you want to do that. There was we just had a cheese event.
Ooh.
And yes.
He
Roaming
has
wedge, yeah.
a smoked blue cheese that I love very much from a creamery called Rogue, I think it was. But I paired that with our barrel aged stout.
Oh, that sounds good.
To my detriment.
Dude, your barrel aged stout is good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I had some of it. I don't remember. I can't see it on the board. I don't remember what it's called. But like, I'm into barrel aged beers and I'm picky about them. We go to Fobab every year, and I
yeah.
probably 70 to 80% of the beers that we try, literally, like, I had yours and I was like, this is really good.
Yeah, that was a very fresh barrel. It's from my buddy Ari, who does the distilling over at Thornton Distillery.
Yeah.
That's keep it local if you can.
As much
Is
as
my
possible.
mantra. So yeah, getting to work with people that I think are doing really cool things in my communities is insanely important to me.
Yeah, very much so.
Do you have a one of the Soundgrowler beers in a food pairing, John?
Do something
gonna
more
be-
interesting than
I was
the
gonna
thing
say, it's
that I
gonna be
said.
super obvious. I think
No, you
like
have to do something
Burning
crazy.
Hill, Grodziskie with any chili, like whatsoever.
Oh.
I literally make
I
a
smoke
chili.
beer and chili. Yeah,
I
that's
make
good.
a chili with both of those beers, and it's phenomenal. Like just putting that as your water base, like in
Your hot
that
dog
chili.
water base?
Yeah, exactly.
Hot dog
Yes,
water base,
yeah.
baby.
Think about a hot dog water chili. You want to?
Yes,
that
I
to
agree.
life.
Flavor
Yeah.
profile.
Listen,
So-
when is
so,
this
like-
coming back? Because we've talked so much about it today. I
I love
This
it. Yeah.
year.
Oh,
All right.
it'll be
That's
around.
another one that like I will die before
Oh,
I
we will
stop
do that.
making
Yes,
beer.
yes.
It's
Love
a
it.
beer. It's a beer that prior to winning a medal, I would have been more concerned about being like, "Hey, I'm brewing that
But now
beer
it's-
again," and now they can't stop me from
No.
brewing.
Yeah, exactly. All
You're
right,
gonna
you
tell me
got
not
it.
to brew
You
the beer.
win.
We got
How
a
are you
medal.
not framing
Yeah.
the overalls and hanging them behind the bar next to the medal? That would be.
He
I
wears
love
them every
wearing
single
it.
time he
Every
brews.
single time I
I've
brew,
seen
I
it.
wear
I've done it,
Yeah.
and I love it.
I
And
will-
don't
Oh,
stop.
that's hilarious.
I either get another pair or I wear these until they're destroyed.
Yeah,
You know,
okay,
it's
yeah.
either
Oh, well,
it
there'll
is
be a
either-
couple more pairs. Well,
it
I'm
is
not-
either
I'm sure of it.
A guide or a push to brew better and more, or it's a punishment.
Yeah,
Very
there you go.
nice. Well, that's it. You guys have been a joy. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad we
great.
finally got out here to talk to everybody at Soundgrowler. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer. Be sure to support your local breweries, folks, because without your support, some breweries are having a rough time. So get out there and support them. Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer is produced by award-winning producer, and I don't say that with any hyperbole, award-winning producer Cody Goff. You can read our blog. Yes, Cody getting a little love here.
Yes.
Read the blog, listen to past episodes. Just go to craftybrewerspod.com. And if you have a brewery you want us to talk to, or maybe you're a brewer who, like Jake and John, had such a wonderful time today that they can't wait to tell every brewer they know to come on.
Yes.
There'll be a little
Very
something
much
extra in
so.
your envelope at the end. Then,
get an
by all
envelope?
means, send us a note at craftybrewerspod@gmail.com. From Soundgrowler Brewing, again, it's soundgrowler.com. They're on 183rd Street in Tinley Park. What is the exact number
For
the place?
8201.
8201.
Yeah.
I know it's
Sweet
Sweet
pea.
Pea.
Sweet pea.
Sweet Pea, baby.
pea, baby.
We're
Um,
sweet peas over here.
So thank you again for Crafty Brewers. I'm Brian Noonan. Cody, any last words?
That's just my reality.
That's the doom in the beer, doom and tacos.
Yes.
Did you know actually that metal is the most lexically intelligent music?
Oh,
there was
what?
a study
They
in
play it
November,
for plants.
and it is very emotionally intelligent.
Is that
It's
right?
classical music sped up.
No, I'm fascinated by the metal subculture because like it's deep.
yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
The psychology
it's
behind
another level.
like a lot of the subgenres of metal there's like a deep, interesting science
Oh, it's
behind
very,
it.
very much so. Yes.
There's a ton of science behind. Like I kind of wish we could have gotten into it. Like part of me is like, oh man, but
You
wait,
have,
there was a-
listen,
there was
you
a
have
miss-
time codes.
we
that I
were
have to
talking
different
about
podcasts.
beer.
Different podcast.
We were. I was gonna
Just
be like.
started, hey, just do a different podcast and we can talk about metal
Let's
for
start this
2
back up.
hours.
I
let's
wasn't
do
going to be
another
like,
hour.
Jake, let's talk about metal and like wax poetic about like it's just too it's too
And we're
left
back
field.
with the psychological
Okay.
metal
Music.
podcast.
Do you like music? Because we do.
Let me talk to you about Mitski for 45 minutes.
We're going to break down
it's
this
been too
solo.
long.
Next time on Crafty Brewers.
Yes.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're
Incredible.